Welcome to That 80s Show, and I'm in the studio with the living embodiment of the very popular Dead or Alive song. True words Dori said to me before we started recording. What was it, Dori? I like feeling dizzy?
I like feeling dizzy sometimes, but not all the time.
Spinning round like a record, right round, Dori.
Round.
Besides your dizzy spells, how are you?
I'm good.
Oh, Dori, it is, I got to tell you, it is never a boring moment.
Being me, yes.
Oh,
no, that's true.
Dori is like every character in Seinfeld put together, if you must know.
Yeah.
Yada, yada, yada.
I think I'm mostly George's dad, though. Let's be honest.
Mostly George, but you don't have violent outbursts.
You're not with me all the time.
Okay, all right. So, geez, you think you know somebody... You think you know somebody for 20 years and suddenly they are violent Jewish men.
Accurate.
Very accurate. So I'm looking forward to the show this week. What people don't know is that Dori has been very busy. So you may have noticed shorter shows.
Yes.
But today we've got time.
Because I'm bunking.
Dori's bunking. Guys, she's bunking. Okay?
Yeah.
Today she's avoiding phone calls. So we're going to have good news for us, bad news for you.
Yeah.
Because now a chance to just lean into all the 80s shit and fill the next hour or so with nostalgia crack. So crack wasn't big in the 80s. Cocaine was big. But I don't know. Maybe nostalgia.
I think crack was big in some places.
It was. It's the
Plumber's
CIA.
crack too.
Plumber's crack was huge.
Yeah.
Plumbers speed balls or 8 balls. That's what we will be doing on that 80s show. So Dori, one of our favorite people from the 80s, Bronson Pinchot.
Oh, I was about to say half.
Oh, no, it's like
that doesn't narrow it down.
Does not at all. Okay, does not at all. Bronson Pinchot, right? Perfect Strangers, Serge, we love him on Residence.
Balki, Serge.
Balki Bartokomous, we love him. But he is actually a relatively perfect stranger to us. Do you know anything about his life?
Nothing.
Exactly.
I don't even know. Is he actually, what is his nationality?
Oh, Dori, let me regale you with a tale. So I find he was doing podcast rounds. Okay. I don't know if he's promoting the Residents. So I've been listening to a few of them, and he is on one with a guy called. It's a podcast called. You will actually like this. Called Hey Hollywood, I'm Still Here.
Cool.
Right, with Steve Kmetko. Now, you may not know Steve Kmetko, but you know Steve Kmetko. He, when I saw him, I was like, this guy looks like this guy who used to do a lot of stuff in the 90s. Looks like his dad, but it's actually Steve Kmetko. I hope I'm saying that right. He was on E News Entertainment.
Should I Google him?
You can Google him. So what you want to do, I'll pop up a photo of Steve Kmetko. I'll also put a link to his podcast in the show notes, as well as that 80s show essay on Facebook. And Bronson Pinchot pops up on Steve Kmetko's.
Oh, I know exactly.
You know exactly who it is, right?
Yes.
So he was like Mr. Entertainment guy in the 90s, right? Even we saw his stuff in South Africa.
He's 72.
That's what I'm saying, Dori. And when you look at him now, you're like, he looks like Steve Kmetko's dad. It's Steve Kmetko, right? Because he was Mr. Entertainment guy. E News, E Entertainment. He was doing all that.
That's where I know him from. God, very familiar face.
Yeah. So he did a lot of stuff. Anyway, he's got this amazing nostalgia podcast where he talks to a bunch of people that we've kind of forgotten, right?
Well, we haven't.
No, we haven't. People
but
have.
Other people have, yes.
And I got to say, he's a fantastic interviewer.
Okay.
Because he just lets his guests talk. Because, of course, you got to know these people want to talk. They've got
no one else to talk to.
They haven't been on talk shows probably for about 30 years.
On their couch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's just lets him talk. He's a fantastic interviewer. So he just lets Bronson Pinchot just ramble and talk about his life. Right?
Okay.
Oh, Dori, what a fascinating life this guy's had. So I got to tell you, I'm halfway through this podcast, halfway through this episode.
Is it a long one?
No, it's about an hour or so, right?
Okay, that's long.
So he talks about, obviously, how he came up with Serge, the character, that it was, he just leaned into, he remembers he had a manager that was an old Israeli woman who had this outrageous accent.
Okay.
So he was just like, because they said, no, Serge is gay and you got to lean into it. And he's like, look, in 80s Hollywood, gay characters were punched down on. And he was like, okay, that's the character, but I'm going to give him some power. So he said, he said, and he think that's what the difference was. He was a total cliche, but he wanted to own it and just be the guy. He took this, because Serge wasn't supposed to have any sort of accent.
Okay.
He just was, the character was
just a
gay art
camp guy,
curator.
Right.
So he's like, okay, I'm going to make Serge.
And then becomes the best part of the movie.
So this is what he talks about. And he goes, the irony was this whole Beverly Hills Cop was made as a vehicle for Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy's going to be the great big star, massive movie with him. And he said the next day, everything, after the first day of the movie, all everyone's talking about is Serge.
Yep.
He says he wasn't just an overnight success. He says he was the same day success. He said the movie came out that day. He said that afternoon, he's just walking around Hollywood. Nobody knows who he is. He's got no money. So he was actually on his now, of course, they embellish the stories because they're great storytellers. Somebody phones him and says, have you read the reviews about yourself in Beverly Hills Cop? He said, you got to go buy the newspaper. He says, I can't buy the newspaper. I can't afford to, but I'll go to the newsstand. He says, suddenly a car pulls up on the pavement. He goes, okay, well, I'm dead now. A whole bunch of kids jump out, college kids, and want photos of Serge. He's like, it was the wildest thing ever. He said, like, they had literally just watched the movie, saw him.
Oh my God, imagine.
Imagine that. Like, that's fucking Serge. And then he says,
so cool.
Perfect Strangers comes into that. He doesn't get into it, but he had a relationship with Carrie Fisher.
Okay.
Right? So he said they were very good friends. He talks about Hollywood parties. He said, she would often go to the toilet, which, we all know what that meant in the 80s. And he says one day they're out for dinner at this very like fancy, cool restaurant. And he says they're kind of like, she's Carrie Fisher. She's huge. People kind of like recognize him. And she says to him, listen, you don't want to date me. This is not going to be a thing. I'm a manic depressive. This is not going to work for you. And he goes, well, that's not for you to decide, whatever. He says, in the restaurant, she stands up, pulls her dress up over her head, and she's wearing Minnie Mouse panties and starts screaming, you see, and get kicked out the restaurant, right?
Alrighty.
And he's still like, changed nothing. Still like, obviously has a bit of a flame for her.
That would make me like someone more.
Well, really?
Honestly.
Really?
That would not scare me off in the slightest.
And so he doesn't lean into it. You get the sense that there could have been something there, or probably was something, but they kept it secret. And she's taken that secret to the grave, so nobody else can confirm the story. And he's telling the story just about fame and his process, and he rambles on about it. He just talks and talks and talks. He talks about what a hero Balki became to immigrants. And he said he'd often get emails, letters from people saying, my family are immigrants, that seeing a character like us, because Balki was from Mypos, wasn't a real place. It was insert Iran, Greek, wherever. And they say, the thing about Balki is, I said, people aren't nice to my father who's an immigrant like they are to Balki. But they love Balki because he's just kind and loves everybody. And he's casually telling the story, and you pick up that he grew up very poor, that his mother had left the father. And then he just casually, just in the middle of the conversation, just middle. And this is where I've stopped. And he goes, because seeing your father try to kill your mother, that's a real eye-awakening. It's a real, eye-opening moment. Starts talking about something else. You're like,
alrighty.
And it's at that point that I haven't caught up on. I was like, holy shit. Aren't all comedians fucked up like that, though?
Yep, pretty much.
But I listen, I'm so happy about it. And then from that, I found another one that he is on. The kids who did Boy Meets World. Remember that TV show from the 90s?
Terrible, yeah.
They got a podcast
Okay.
called We Meet World. So all the extra characters, I know Topanga and the one who played his brother and the one who played his neighbor.
Okay.
Those three.
Oh.
Because it wasn't Kevin Savage. It was Kevin Savage's brother. Right? Because the Wonder Years kid, that's Kevin Savage. His brother was the boy in Boy Meets World.
Is the name Kevin Savage? Why do I feel like that's not the right name?
It's got to be.
I'm going to look that up.
The Wonder Years kid.
No, I know who you're talking about. I just feel like that's not his name.
Do a quick Google, Dori. It's driving the people crazy. It's driving especially me crazy.
Yeah, no.
You know?
But yeah, I watched a little bit of Boy Meets World. It wasn't great though.
I loved it. You see, you were a bit older than me.
Maybe that's why.
You see, that I was exactly the same age as the characters. So we're talking 90s now, right? I was exactly the same age as the characters in Boy Meets World when it came out. So it was very relatable to me.
Fred Savage, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
His brother was the boy in Boy Meets World. Wasn't he Kevin?
His brother from Wonder Years, you mean?
No,
Or
his brother from his mother.
Oh. Oh, that is so funny. You were close. It's Ben Savage.
Okay, so.
Okay, now that I see Ben Savage, I recognize him.
Didn't you know they were brothers? You didn't think about
I probably didn't think about it.
Nobody thought about it. Anyway, he's not involved in this podcast whatsoever. So it's Topanga, and then the guy who played his brother and the guy who played his neighbor. And
Okay.
Bronson Pinchot's on their podcast. So basically, their podcast, so I'll listen to that as well. But anyway,
Did you watch The Residence, by the way?
I did watch The Residence.
Did you enjoy it?
Kind of. I wasn't like, it's filler. I got to be honest with you.
It's something different. I enjoyed it.
I like Bronson Pinchot. I liked Kylie. I was very disappointed that what I thought was going to happen didn't happen
Yeah, no, the story.
in regards to Hugh Jackman. But
What, you thought that it was actually going to be?
I thought Hugh Jackman was going to pop up, but
No, I know that would have been so funny.
I get the feeling they were making it up as they went along. I don't know. Didn't love it.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was filler. It was good.
Yeah.
And like I say, appreciation for Bronson Pinchot.
Absolutely.
You know, and you say, what is
Did you
his-
recognize him straight away, though?
Oh, of course, because he was in the new Beverly Hills Cop, and we saw lots of photos with him, and he's in The
Yeah.
Residence. So you don't recognize him at first, but that's what he looks like now.
I know, but like at first glance, you don't go, "Oh my God, that's Bronson Pinchot."
No, but
in
when-
fact, I recognized his voice before I recognized
Once
him.
you see it, you know him, and that's
Yeah.
what you say. So in The Residence, he's French.
Yes.
And
Which
you
he
ask,
probably is French with
No.
a name like Pinchot. No?
totally American.
Huh.
Totally American. No accent whatsoever.
But like ancestry-wise.
He actually doesn't go into it. No, he sounds fully
Yeah,
American.
if that's even his real name.
Another person from the 80s, we love him. Dori, you got to love a clickbaity headline and a clickbaity story. Listen to this headline. 80s pop icon looks completely unrecognizable in rare sighting amid exciting new role.
Oh God, that could literally be anyone.
Okay, but unrecognizable.
Okay.
Right? He was most recognizable star in the 80s thanks to his bold looks and show-stopping talent. Okay?
Are you going to show me a picture and I have to guess who it is?
Fans could not believe their eyes when they saw him exiting the stage in New York City, Broadway,
Okay.
because he's in Moulin Rouge, the musical. This is what he's been doing,
All right.
right? He donned a black sweater and matching sweatpants for the rare sighting, along with red sneakers and a black beanie. Nigh on unrecognizable from his vibrant stage makeup, which harkened back to his 80s heyday. Now, Dori, you're going, well, I'll never recognize who this person is ever in the history of my life. Oh, no, Dori does not recognize him.
No, I do.
Oh, no. The clickbaity headline is correct. That's Boy George,
I
Dori.
was about to say that's Boy George. But you know what I wasn't
So he
expecting?
as
I
is
wasn't expecting the facial hair.
He is unrecognizable.
No.
to
I
you.
could see that's Boy George.
If I hadn't told you?
No, I was about to say Boy George.
Okay.
But
You're right.
the
okay.
facial hair threw me off.
You don't think that. You see, but Dori, the
the
eyebrows.
eyes. Yeah, no,
eyebrows
absolutely.
and the blush and the makeup.
Yeah.
Okay, I take it, because if you go and look further in this article, I mean, the next picture is how we all know Boy George, right? With the big bow in his hair.
Yes, no facial hair.
No facial hair. Okay, Dori, so I'll give you that, and I understand. I still think it's super clickbaity.
Of course.
But he goes on to talk about, obviously this is quoting from other sources previously, about how he started with the makeup. And he's saying, well, I just had a very plain face. I didn't look like anything. So that's why I started experimenting with makeup, started wearing it. And then the first night I went out like that, a lot of boys started buying me drinks. So I thought, this is fantastic, and that's what I'm going to do. And then it just became a whole big thing.
Yeah, too late to change.
Would it have been, would I have thrown you more? Oh, also, Boy George will not do plastic surgery. Says that it's
Good.
like he's spent 30, 40 years in a healing process
Yes.
to understand who he is.
Yeah.
And then to now go do plastic
Also,
surgery.
he looks good. He's aged well.
Listen, Dori, I mean, you got to say that. We'll post this exact photo up. That is a striking person.
Yeah.
That is a
Looks
striking
really good.
person. And that's kind
I
of
think
like...
he would look as good without the makeup.
Like got a beanie on, got a leather jacket, not full on leaning into Boy George, but there you go. You see, that's how we see Boy George now on The Voice with the hat And he's got
I
a
don't
beard
watch
in
The
that.
Voice.
Yeah, so that's where we know him. Would it have given if I said, because they did mention that his signature stage hats, would that have helped? No,
Nope.
not at all.
Nope.
Somehow I imagine, and now this is where my brain is getting confused between things, he never wore a Crocodile Dundee style Australian hat, right, with the little corks.
Not that I know of.
It would be funny though.
Would it have?
Oh, fucking hilarious. You put AI, make that. Make that. But Dori, the 80s story that has been all over the place. I don't know how you've missed this. I do know how you missed this. You've disappeared into a hole of employment.
I don't look at the social media.
Oh, Dori.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about a 80s gay icon, right? There is an 80s gay icon who it has been revealed after, 48 years, has a daughter, a secret daughter no one knew about. Who do you think it could be? It's one of the biggies. So it's not Boy George.
Yeah.
Elton John, we know, has kids.
Yeah.
Leaves one more, Dori.
Does it?
George Michael's dead. Leaves one more. Dori, I don't want to put you under pressure, but you really need to answer soon.
Can you give me another clue?
Under pressure being the key. Because the other
Freddie
person...
Mercury?
Exactly. Freddie Mercury, a mystery secret daughter has appeared.
Is this DNA confirmed?
Dori, hot off the press, 17 hours ago from the time of recording this, DNA has confirmed that this is indeed Freddie Mercury's daughter. So there is a biography coming out later this year called Love Freddie, Freddie Mercury's Secret Life and Love, that alleges that Freddie Mercury fathered a daughter in 1976 during an affair with a friend's wife.
Ooh.
Doesn't say who the friend's wife is. I'm thinking Brian May. But anyway, let's leave it there, right?
Did they even know each other yet? But I suppose they would have.
76, yeah. So he had an affair and this daughter was birthed, right? Mm-hmm. And they decided to keep her identity secret. She only goes by the name B, right?
Does she know who her dad is?
She does know, right?
Okay.
So only a few of his selected bandmates, probably not Brian May.
We're about to get sued now.
Because like I'm saying, not all his bandmates, selected bandmates.
Ooh.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And close confidants were aware of her existence, right? While we know this is the daughter, because she knows Freddie Mercury's her dad, he gave her 17 volumes of personal journeys documenting his thoughts and experiences, right? And he instructed her to not read certain parts until she was 25. So from 17 or from she becoming a teenager, he was giving her... Imagine getting Freddie Mercury's journals. Just imagine Freddie Mercury being your friggin' dad. I think he'd be a phenomenal dad.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't think he would be... I think he would not absent. I think he would be a doting, loving, caring dad.
So why did they keep it a secret? Because he was still... I mean, he wasn't ever in the closet, but he was still like bisexual back then,
Yeah,
right?
he was. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Because it was an affair.
So, and probably because it's Brian May. No, but I mean, I suppose the I think he just wants to protect. Because can you imagine the shit show? So she's 48 now, and she's decided that she's still keeping her secret identity. Doesn't want to say who she is.
Oh, I'm really curious to see what she looks like.
But you're wondering about the teeth, aren't you? That's the first thing I thought.
And if she has curly long hair, like her...
She's a doctor. So that's also one of the reasons she said, she's a doctor, full professional. He made provisions for her. She's not mentioned in a will. She's not mentioned in any documents of how she's looked after, but he made provision to look after her, right? And
so the money didn't only go to cats.
No, not only. And so he's like, listen, your choice, like whatever. And probably part of his journals was probably like, can you imagine all the clues Freddie Mercury's putting for you? Like if you want to get the next journal, you have to walk in the county of Kent, and go to like ye old stairwell and on the third step, move the second rock, and you'll find the journal number 3. He would have like little breadcrumbs, little Freddie Mercury trail of journals. This story comes out last week of The Secret Daughter. Everyone's like, bullshit, this is a cash grab. You're just using it to sell your book. Your book's coming out in September. You know it sucks. We all seen Bohemian Rhapsody. What more can you tell us?
Ooh,
right?
Yeah.
We know. We've been knowing Freddie Mercury. Right? What are you going to tell us? Secret Daughter? Fuck it. You're lying. So the daughter's come out and said, no, here's the DNA. They've got DNA proof. It is Freddie Mercury's daughter. Great stuff. By the way, look at my teeth. Yeah.
Terrible.
That's horrible. Scandal. 30 odd years after he's died, Freddie Mercury still stops die horlosies. Hey?
Do you think she's gone to Zanzibar?
Oh yeah. So in something else, sorry, she knows about it. She's been to the house. She's read the journals. She's done.
She went to the house and went, "This is my dad's house."
My dad's house. Yeah. Freddie Mercury.
And everyone was like, okay.
Like, I know, like, now we all want Freddie Mercury to be our dad, don't we? We kind of like all kind of, and you work it out. He was here in the 80s. Maybe, whatever. Nah, I don't think at that stage
Look,
Freddie
my
Mercury
mom was a fan, but...
Freddie Mercury wasn't messing around with women at that stage. I think 70s, he was still like, both sides. By the 80s, is like, no, fuck it. We're going. And so no chance for anybody in South Africa to be Freddie Mercury's love child. But if
that would be so cool.
I mean,
if you are, show us your teeth.
Hey, if you are, listen, get in touch with the show. If you're Freddie Mercury's South African love child, we'd love to talk to you. We know you've got the journals. Okay, get in touch. Get in touch. So from Freddie Mercury we've spoken about this movie before, just before we jump into our movie and multimedia recommendations. I spoke to you about the Robin Williams movie Popeye, right?
Yes.
Live action flop, fucked out, that they've just never dared to make a Popeye movie again. Story comes out from the Paramount CEO at the time, says that people weren't getting their strength from spinach. That movie came out the way it came out because everybody on that show, on that movie, was fucked on coke continuously. Right?
Sounds about right, actually.
I know you say, well, Robin Williams, peak 80s movie, like he had his addictions.
Remind me who else was on there?
Shelley Duvall was in it.
Okay.
Also a big name actor played Bluto. Bob Hoskins, I think, was in it as well. He played Wimpy. Wimpy, is the name Wimpy? The little guy with the hat. Anyway, but the two big stars were Robin Williams and Shelley Duvall, and they shot it in Malta. And Malta at the time was kind of like just like this little outpost in Europe that kind of was like, yeah, things happen there.
Yeah.
They were saying that
what happens in Malta stays in Malta.
They were smuggling cocaine. They were sending cocaine over in the tins that had the film. So they would shoot, put it in a tin, send it over to America, but pack cocaine in there or pack money in there and then come back with new tins with coke. He said it was just like constant, non-stop. Everyone was stoned all the time. The one time he says he was on set and they give him a walkie-talkie, but it's not working properly. He opens the battery pack, a bag of coke inside. He said
it's almost like a satire.
He said that movie looks, he said there's a reason that movie's fucked. Everyone on that set was absolutely fucked.
I'm kind of more interested to watch it now.
Right?
Because I want to see everyone having the sweats.
It's terrible. It's terrible. You know, and listen, I suppose the only way you're going to make a Popeye movie, because you know what the thing is? Popeye is grossly deformed with those fucking arms.
Yes.
And they don't like reimagine it. Like, what would he look like if he was human? What would those arms represent as? No, they give him the fucking Popeye arms. Very disturbing. And Robin Williams has got this weird, like, little Popeye face the whole time. You know, but that's probably Coke face. Huh? Yeah. You know, I'm showing Dori the Coke face now.
Yes.
Not like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
You would not know.
No.
You're sweet and innocent.
I'm very sweet and innocent. And now it is time for, if you haven't yet watched Dori's multimedia recommendation from last week about the documentary about Miami Vice. Fantastic quote. Opening couple of lines. It was hot in Miami, but on the set of Miami Vice, it was full of snow. Or some shit, I probably fucked that up. It was something like that.
It was snowing.
It was snow.
It was snow.
Snow. Anyway,
Yeah.
Coke. That's what they're trying to say, Coke.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, Dori, let's get into your multimedia recommendation. And I believe it's very multimedia because you got like sound effects, you got trailers and documentaries and so many things for me to edit into the show later,
Yes,
which I
I'm
thank
giving
you
you hard
for.
work. So this is one of my podcasts that I listen to regularly and I've spoken about before. It's from the Criminal Podcast. But when I say this blew my mind, that is an understatement because I have never heard of this place. And when I went down the rabbit hole after listening to this podcast, I was sitting in front of YouTube with my jaw hanging.
Dori, this better not be Cristiano Part 2.
It is not.
Okay.
This is so much better. And I think you'll appreciate this because one of the jokes that people make about Gen X and, people who grew up in the 80s is how tough we are and how playgrounds were made to kill us, but we survived them.
Right.
Like that kind of joke.
We all had those urban legends about something.
Yep.
Do you remember? I mean, ours in South Africa was, remember the pool at Ellis Park?
No.
There's a pool next to
Okay.
Ellis Park. So lots of schools, I think you still go there. It's still like quite an elite aquatic center. It's not a
Okay.
swimming pool. And they got this like massive, like proper Olympic size swimming pool with an Olympic grade diving board.
Okay.
But we all heard those stories. Some kid hit the back of their head, fucking died and came off and all that shit. Yeah. Love an urban rumor. The other one was like if you put your bum on the outlets on your pool, it'll suck your insides out through your anus.
Well, that is a short story by the same guy who wrote Fight Club.
Okay, yeah.
Really
Well,
disturbing.
it's also happened to my neighbor Stefan's best friend's cousin in Potch.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've sent you the trailer so I listened to the podcast about this thing. It's called Action Park,
Okay.
but there is also a documentary called Class Action Park.
Okay.
All will be revealed why.
Dem get sued.
Yeah, but didn't really make a difference for a long time.
Okay.
Okay, in a
Right.
nutshell.
Let's go. Let's put me in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, this crazy guy had a ski resort in northern New Jersey
Right.
that he had opened in like 1978. And then he realized that during summer, he wasn't making any money. So he wanted to do something to the place to attract people during summer. So he built a water park. Mm-hmm. But he built all the rides
ski resort.
at the ski resort. It was a huge property. Huge.
Listen, what the fucking tactical acumen, the business acumen of this guy going, I'm going to open a ski resort. Oh shit, it only snows for 3 months of the year. Shit, that is a bad business move.
Yes.
Right, fucking genius. This guy, straight out the bat, we know we're not dealing with the
remember,
rocket
Northern
science.
Hemisphere, it actually, it only snows for, I suppose, but
Yeah.
it's winter for a fair amount of the year.
It's winter longer, but I mean, it's New Jersey. We're not talking Ontario.
No.
Right? I mean, so we're already talking with the rocket scientist, yeah.
Oh, no, wait. This guy was very clever. You have no idea. He then decided to design a lot of the rides himself. He had zero expertise to do this.
Was he 8? Because that's the sort of shit you do when you're in primary school.
I think, honestly, in his brain, yes.
Yeah.
His whole idea around the place was that he wanted it to be like a fairy tale place for kids where there were no rules. You could do what you want. There was an element of danger. It was all exciting. It was all fun all the time. Sometimes you need rules for stuff. Have a look at that trailer for the docu that I've just sent you, because you'll get an idea of what this place was like.
There's nothing in the world like Action Park.
Baby, let me take you where the action's hot. Action Park.
The story of Action Park is a true crime story.
So firstly, I got to say, very 80s looking girl jumps up. There's nothing in the world like adventure. What?
Action
Park. And behind her, a kid, but like, if I have to tell you how he fucking pusses off this.
Yep.
He is going so fast.
Yep.
That is not safe. And that was there. That's what we're going to promote you. This place works. This kid, but fucking flies off this thing. Okay, we'll carry on.
as you entered the park, you saw this thing, and you're like, this is real.
The engineering behind this, if there was any engineering, was just nuts.
Build it higher, make it faster. People control the action.
Combine that with liquor and anything goes.
There were no rules. For a lot of kids, that was heaven.
And if you couldn't swim well, yikes.
I don't think you can understand a place like Action Park if you don't understand the kind of minds that build it.
A lot of people wish they could ignore rules. Gene actually did that.
Nobody would give him insurance, so he created his own insurance company and then insured himself.
It did bring sometimes a criminal element.
I don't know how many people died at Action Park, but it wasn't just one person.
Electrocuted.
Decapitated.
Fractured vertebrae.
Impaled on the bowl.
Had a heart attack.
Nobody should ever be the second person to die in a wave pool. Close the wave pool.
The action never stops at Action Park.
You can tell, like, they say everything is higher, faster. You can see that. Like, you can tell the speed of it. We've all been down water slides.
Yeah.
We've all jumped. Everything they jump off is fucking high, and everybody's going down everything super, super fast on high things.
All I can tell you to do, if you aren't able to watch the docu, like I am not able.
So I reckon in South Africa, Showmax shows a lot of HBO stuff,
it might
but
be on there.
they
I
don't
don't know.
show documentaries. They show like they don't
series and stuff.
Yeah, they don't want to show, but that's a place to keep an eye.
But all you have
for
to do
it.
is go into YouTube and type Class Action Park into YouTube. There's so many short things. I watched one.
I mean,
last night.
if someone gets decapitated at a water slide park, there's going to be a news clip about it.
You know?
Yeah.
Funny enough, it didn't seem to do much when
80s.
these people died. Yeah, no, totally 80s.
Yeah.
So the first death, I think, happened in 1980, and there were a few throughout the decade. The park only closed down in like 1996, and only because they went bankrupt.
Really?
Not because they were forced to close down because people were dying.
It's just kind of like, oh, well, this is just like he says, no one should die in a wave pool. Like, seriously, okay, wave pool, you can drown. These things happen. But, I can see it. Like, Valley of Waves, over the years, the wave pool has become so, like, quite timid. Like, I remember when it first opened, and what are we talking about? 90s?
Yeah.
Valley of Waves? I remember that wave pool used to smash you up in, like it would throw you back out on the beach.
Yeah.
Now, if you can think of Valley of Waves, from where the waves break to where the beach is, it is far. And it's not sand. You're rolling on concrete onto those fucking sand fucking nails. So if a wave pool is not configured correctly, you're getting your ass thrown out and dying.
Well, I mean, the one ride that they show in one of these short little docu things on YouTube, it's this ridiculously long, I think it's called the Alpine Slide, where it's this long water slide that goes all the way down the mountain. But there's no ways you can actually control being on it. Like, gravity takes over. They put you in this like little vehicle that's got supposedly a braking device.
Okay, so the Alpine Slide, because if you watch Australia Kids, they're like a little karakis. It's like
a little go-kart thing that goes down the mountain.
Yeah.
And I think you maybe end up
like
in
a toboggan? Is it toboggan?
Something like that.
It must be, because it was a ski resort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the guys in one of the clips said that brake thing never worked. Ever. And if you could not control your body weight, you just went flying off the track.
Yeah, because it's open, yeah.
But never mind that. This track was made of concrete, fiberglass, and asbestos.
Wow.
And imagine you're there in just your bathing suit on that.
Or
People got
cut off jeans.
many burns.
Yes.
Many burns.
Now, you know what the thing is? It's like you have got to go really out your way and be quite sadistic, which sounds like he was. So, like, he made his own insurance company to insure himself. And when they say alcohol was involved, those were big beers.
Oh, yeah.
Those were very big beers that they showed there.
In fact, the one ride where people would, like, wipe out the most, they literally set up a bar that people could sit and drink and watch the people wiping out. And I was like, that's probably the most 80s thing I've ever heard.
I think I like this place.
I knew you would love it. I knew you would love it. You've got to listen to the podcast or you've got to watch the docu. This is totally your kind of thing. The one other thing that they speak about in the podcast, so there's a swing. You get on a swing thing and then you fall into the water. I don't remember what those things are called. But the problem was that the water that you were falling into was freezing cold because it was coming from the mountain.
Yeah.
So it was free. So people would literally go, oh, yay, get on the swing, drop into the water, and get immediate hypothermia and have to be helped out.
Did the guy who made this place, like, was he a sadist or was he just, like, he must have enjoyed?
He was just crazy.
Like, there's one thing in there where they say you got to know the minds who created this place. Like, the guy does definitely give, like, fucking really creepy vibes. Like, that dude, I think he liked it.
Well, his son has written a book about the place.
Okay.
His son is one of, let's call him a survivor of the place because he let his son try the rides first. His son was like the guinea pig of the rides.
Holy shit.
Yeah, no, absolutely nuts.
But you know what? You really have to go out your way to make these things dangerous because often happens when you go on holiday and it's always in coastal towns because you don't see too many. I mean, up in Joburg, we've got wild waters, but like you go down, I mean, we were recently in Muizenberg and you go to like, if you in not the big coastal towns, but you go like in KZN and you go a little bit further out to like the outer skirts of Belito or you go into Margate just to go see what it looks like now. Spoiler alert, looks like shit. PE and you see all the old water slide parks and like people go, oh yeah, I remember when we used to come down here on holiday, we used to go to those, but they look a lot worse than they did then. It's like, no.
Yeah, they always look like that.
They always look like that. And you start
saw
going
them through kids' eyes.
It's like, yeah, shit, you know what? Actually, I remember coming down like burned to shit, like surface burns and cuts on my legs. And I remember like you spin around, you go head first into the pool.
Dude, I remember just going to parks as a kid and the slides were made of steel.
And they were fucking high and so hot. I mean, how? Cousin Louie and I survived Germiston Lake. You know?
You start sliding down the slide in your little 80s shorts and you get stuck.
More so, Dori, you start sliding down the slide in your 80s long pants corduroys and you come down in shorts.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
This place was nuts.
How did we
for the wave pool, they had to have like 20 lifeguards. And you know, like mostly lifeguards sit there doing nothing all day. These guys were busy all day.
That's a sign that something's wrong.
Honestly.
You know?
So there actually were not as many deaths as you would have expected for this kind of thing. But like the one death was so weird.
I want to find out about the decapitation.
Yeah, didn't go into that.
That's got to be zipline related.
They didn't get into that.
Do not trust the zipline.
But what they did go into was there was a thing called the kayak. It was like kayak where they like made it like a river rafting experience. But the way they did that was they had this like underwater fan to create rapids.
Someone got sucked in.
No. So this guy flipped over in his kayak and then he stood up, but he stood on the thing and he got electrocuted from the fan under the water because a fan underwater is not a good idea.
That's how the decapitation happened as well, I'm telling you. Somebody got sucked into that thing.
I don't know, but it was just nuts. But I mean, more than the deaths, people say they have injuries to this day. I mean, people have been paralyzed from it. The craziest story, there was one ride that didn't actually last very long because the first time they did it, I don't even want to tell you. You got to actually listen to the podcast. It's so crazy, like what happened to the guy who was in the first thing. It's a miracle he survived. And apparently there was like a safety inspector there that day and they were like, no. And apparently the guy just was like, I can't. And he just left. Like he didn't even know he couldn't even like say, no, you can't.
But you know,
like, this whole thing's a problem.
You know what was the whole thing? Like we just weren't as safety conscious back then.
No.
We just weren't. And also the level of bravado. Like if people think people are macho now.
Yeah.
Like we're soft cock macho now. If you think 20-year-olds.
No, nothing.
20-year-olds in the 80s. So you got the wild kids.
Yeah.
20-year-olds who've had a few beers and you say, don't fucking that, you could get electrocuted. No. Says who? Not me.
Yeah.
Fucking watch this mullets go.
Yeah.
Not even wearing like costumes, like cut off jean shorts.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna fuck this thing. Fucking sunscreen. Your ass is sunscreen. Fucking put oil on my body.
I've just remembered the part in the clip about them setting up the bar.
God, imagine Dori, imagine the mullets that were getting stuck in shit.
I know. The part in the clip where they were setting up the bar to watch the people, it was also a ride where the women's bikinis tops would come off.
Yes.
I mean, how 80s is that? It's so 80s.
Of course. This thing is like Revenge of the Nerds goes to the water park. It really
sounds so crazy. And the people that they speak to on the podcast were like, when you were a kid in New Jersey, like it was a badge of honor to go and survive.
And that's the other thing, like New Jersey, from like what we know, is like that's a tough place. So like it's like you gotta fucking have balls. So you're not gonna. And you lost one finger, fuck, you got 9 others. What are you worried about?
The other reason that this place was such a disaster is that the owner was like, I don't want to pay like actual staff. So he just hired all the kids during the school holidays. So they were like 14-year-old kids working these crazy, dangerous rides.
You know what? I wasn't sure about this place.
Now you are.
You know, when my DeLorean starts working, when I just get enough uranium, just enough. I just need a little bit more.
That's where you're going.
Fucking, that's set the date back. I'm going to Action Park.
Do yourself a favor, go onto YouTube, go down the rabbit hole, because I literally sat there with my mouth hanging open watching these things. Even from listening to the podcast, I couldn't have imagined what it actually looked like.
What's the worst injury or worst incident you've had at a water slide park?
Sure. Not at a water slide park, but do you remember the slippery slip? Or was it the slippery slide thing? That long yellow thing that you would put on in your garden.
Yes.
And then you'd wet it, and then you would literally just launch yourself onto it and slide down it. I cracked my hip on that because I went down it. I was actually a skinny kid, and I went down it probably about 100 times in one day.
Yeah.
And then the next day I had this humongous bruise on my hip. We go to the doctor, does an x-ray, and it's like, yeah, you cracked your hip. I mean, it wasn't terribly sore. I survived it. I was fine.
Yeah.
I was probably 9 or 10. I was probably okay.
Yeah.
But I was a very sheltered child. I wasn't allowed to do anything. Remember, I broke my first bone in my 40s.
Yeah, no, so in a water slide park in Portugal, my tube flew off the side of I landed in the bushes. So it was an open one.
Yeah.
And as it came around the corner, it was like my tube just flipped right over the side.
That sounds like something that would have happened at Action Park. I mean, there's scenes in these clips of the tubes kind of all.
Tell this story.
Oh my God. There are scenes of the tubes all just like, bunching up.
Yeah.
And then they speak about this part where it goes like underground, and then people were almost drowning because they couldn't get out. Because then the water would like just rise up and you were stuck.
Name of the podcast?
It's the podcast is called Criminal. The episode is called Action Park.
Right.
The docu is called Class Action Park. It is on HBO if you can find it. But there's clips and stuff on YouTube. I didn't even get through all the clips. There's so many.
All the interesting ones will pop up in the show notes. So just look down.
Yeah.
There's a point down. And then...
but yeah, basically its heyday was the 80s. Because this place would never exist today. In fact... I don't know, Dori. Have you heard of that one park? And I don't want to get sued by them. I think they're called Happy Valley or Happy Island.
Happy Island.
So my kid went on a school trip to Happy Island.
So Happy Island is in Joburg. It's a little bit out in Mulder's Drift.
Yeah,
it's kind of like if people that go there kind of go like if you just get lost in the moment, it is actually a lot of fun. But when you walk out of it, you're very aware that you've survived something.
Let me tell you a story. My kid in primary school, so we're talking grade 7, went on a trip to Happy Island. There's still some trauma to this day. We are quite a few years later. The one friend, let's just say, lost her virginity on one of the rides.
Wow, fucking nice.
And not the way you would think.
Bum virginity.
Hey?
Bum.
No. I'm just... like... Poor kid could not sit on the bus on the ride home.
Holy shit.
My kid tells me about the wave pool there where they said you did feel like you were going to get sucked into like the fan things underground. Yeah, I think Happy Island is probably kind of close.
Yeah, listen, I mean, we're not making any allegations. We're just retelling stories of people who have been to Happy Island. But my wife and daughter and their friends went, and also we're going like 3 or 4 years ago. They still talk about it to this day.
Yeah,
and they go, yeah, listen, you just turn a blind eye and just go, as you're going down stuff, just keep your fingers and toes in.
But no one's renamed it like Death Island.
No.
Whereas at Action Park, the wave pool was renamed the Grave Pool.
Fuck it, you gotta own it.
Yeah,
you gotta own it.
Yeah. So the son of the guy who started the park, they say to him on the podcast, "Would you?" He's got young kids now. They're like, "Would you let your kids he was like, he grew up there.
Yeah.
Like it was part of his childhood. He survived it. He had amazing experiences. He said he would never let his kids near the place.
That's
if it
fantastic.
existed now.
That is fantastic. Dori, well done. Well played. That is so great. I actually feel I wish I went first because that is, I don't even think that's what I love about that is, yes, you recommend watching something, but it got us to talk about something that everybody listening to this will have their own stories and can relate to.
Exactly.
Because
we all hurt ourselves in a water park or amusement park in the 80s.
And now you look at stuff, and I saw a story this week that, you get these like ninja inflatables and all these bounce arenas and people like getting seriously hurt. It's like, yeah, you got to be a special kind of millennial to get hurt on a padded environment, right? I mean, we had concrete, we had steel, we had edges.
We had asbestos.
Fuck, we still have. No, Dori's had a cough for a while. This is asbestos. Asbestos in our
my 80s lungs.
Exactly. She tried to make a joke and now she's just dying of coughing. So I'm going to jump in with my movie very quickly. It's one of those movies that falls in the category. Last movie was Pierce Brosnan's first movie. This is also the first movie of a lot of big names, right? Directed by a guy called Kevin Reynolds, right? Now, you will know Kevin Reynolds from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and Waterworld. He is Kevin Costner's bestie.
Okay.
They had a falling out, but they're besties again. Kevin Costner appears in all his movies, but Waterworld kind of ended his career.
My God, what a terrible
But the way
movie.
he comes into the Hollywood world is he's in film school and makes this movie as a student film.
Okay.
Right? Steven Spielberg, of all fucking people, sees it. Goes, make it. It's a feature film. I'm funding it. You're putting it under Amblin.
Holy moly.
Amblin Entertainment. You can put the little
ET.
student straight out of film school. So people are going, this guy's the next fucking big guy. He's been ordained by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Of one student film. Quentin Tarantino says this movie is a movie that had the most profound effect on him. It was in theaters for a week, 5 days. And Quentin Tarantino says he went to go watch it every single day. Right?
Okay.
So this guy, Quentin Tarantino says at the time, this guy was being called the Kubrick of his generation. Out of film school. Great start. So he makes this movie. The movie's called Fandango.
Oh, I've heard of it. I don't think I've actually watched it.
Road trip movie. Very few people have watched it.
Yeah.
Listen to this cast. They mentioned Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Right? They were buddies. Judd Nelson and Sam Robards. Right? It's a buddy road trip movie that doesn't quite know what it is. So it's 5 friends, too many friends. That's my problem. Too many guys.
Yeah.
You can't keep track of 5 characters. They lose one doesn't go on the road trip with them.
Okay.
And each one of them is 80s movie set in the 70s, and they've all finished college, but now they've got to go serve in the Vietnam War.
Okay.
Right? And now one really wants to go serve in the Vietnam War because he's like, this is the only way I can make something of myself. Kevin Costner's character, he's rich, so he's like, well, fuck, I don't want to go do that. Why must I go do that? But he's got to, but he's trying to get out of it, using his family connections to get out of it. Judd Nelson's character is kind of ambivalent to it. He's like, well, if I got to go, I got to go. And then the 4th character, he's supposed to get married, but because he's going to Vietnam War, he calls the wedding off, right?
Okay.
So now it's a road trip movie. So when they find out about the guy who's called off his wedding, they said, bullshit, we're going on a road trip because it's the last time we finished college, coming of age. We're going to go on one last adventure before we all go off and probably get killed in Vietnam because they were all 19. No, they weren't 19. But anyway, Kevin Costner was fucking 28 at this stage playing a 21-year-old. Didn't work.
Kevin Costner's always looked old.
He has. And this movie, he looks old. This is his first movie. Movie. Judd Nelson was out of Breakfast Club. This movie's kind of like if Judd Nelson's character from Breakfast Club went to college and straightened up, because he plays very straight, but he's still his Breakfast Club character.
Okay.
And what the friends have done is they've actually contacted the guy's girlfriend and said, you're still getting married. We've arranged it. And we're driving him out to this rock where you're going to get married on this rock because you guys have to get married. So that's the purpose. He doesn't know what's going on. And he's the one he keeps trying to get out the trip.
Right.
And off they go on shenanigans, right? But it starts off as very much a college frat movie. You think, oh, here we go, Revenge of the Nerds. and then it turns into like a really deep male bonding movie. Then there are some like hangover type elements as things happen in the desert.
Okay.
It's just like a bit of a mess of a movie.
So what appealed to Steven Spielberg about it?
So he from the student form, he loved the male camaraderie. He loved the story. He loved the Vietnam kind of message in it.
Okay.
He loved the coming of age element.
Yeah.
After the movie got made years later, he said, I don't want that movie. I don't want my name associated to that movie. But it was too late. Amblin made part of it because he didn't like the direction that they took.
Okay.
So he's like, no, my movies are supposed to be a certain type of thing. And he kind of like says, no. So even if you go look only now years, because he made a big deal about not being made part of it, people connect him to it. Or if he just went, no, don't put my name on it.
Yeah.
No one would know.
Nobody would even remembered it.
Not even pick it up. So they go. There is a... Should I spoil it? No, I won't spoil it. I'll post you the clip that spoils it.
Okay.
On that
I don't think I want to watch
Facebook.
it. So...
No, don't watch it. It's a very odd movie because there are jackass elements in it.
Okay.
And then there are really like serious, deep moments in it.
Which can work. It's not like it can't happen.
It can work. It can work. I think, it falls into this thing of my movies where I like movies that were really big people's first movies.
Yeah.
You got Steven Spielberg in there. You got Kevin Costner. I mean, not Steven Spielberg's first movie, but his. And anyway, it's called Fandango.
What does that mean? What is Fandango?
It is linked to something. Actually, they do explain. I think it's a skydiving because there's a skydiving scene.
Okay.
Because Judd Nelson's character, he's going to join the Air Force.
I know that it's a lyric from some songs, but
yeah. Skip the Light Fandango.
Yes,
that's a lyric you think. So in this context, they talk about it in skydiving. That's what it actually is.
I'm looking it up. A lively Spanish dance for two.
Now,
people, typically accompanied by castanets or tambourine.
No, they don't.
An elaborate or complicated process or activity.
No, I think so. It's linked to the skydiving thing in this movie because no one's dancing with castanets. Anyway, that's my movie, Fandango. Full thing on YouTube.
No, but I think that's cool because I'm aware of its presence in the world.
Yes, it's like a cult movie film school classic.
Yeah.
It's like it is one of those movies that like is part of like a lot of film courses.
Yeah.
So it's got
Kevin
that.
Costner's one of those guys that I love some movies that he's done.
I know.
And I hate some movies that he's done.
I know. He's
very inconsistent.
Yeah, I suppose because like he helps out his buddies.
Yeah,
like, I mean, who should have been in Waterworld?
God, that movie should never have been made.
Anyway, it's a lesson to us all. Dori, do you want to do a quick 80s movie quiz?
Sure.
Okay, some 80s movie trivia. 10 questions for you. We've never spoken about this movie before. I don't know why. I've always wanted to. But the movie Stripes, starring Bill Murray and Harold Ramis.
Are you sure you haven't done it?
I may have done it ages, right in the beginning. Anyway, which branch of the military does Bill Murray and Harold Ramis enlist in? Is it the Army, the Navy, Air Force, or Marines?
I'm going to guess Army.
Dori's going to guess the Army. Okay, let's see if she's right. In Back to the Future, Marty McFly traveled back in time from 1985 and ordered this drink when he sat at the 1955 diner. Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi, Tab, or Dr. Pepper?
Oh my goodness. How do I not know the answer to this one?
It's an odd one. It's a very odd one for, how old is he, 16?
I think it was a Tab.
You're going to go with Tab. Okay.
I might be wrong.
You are wrong, I'll tell you that.
Okay.
This one is just a pure guess. In 1980s Caddyshack, the golfers were members of what country club? Gopher National, Cottonwood, Bushwood, or Candlewood?
Bushwood.
Let's go with Bushwood. In E.T., what candy was featured in the film and countless ads?
M&M's.
You're going to go, do you want to hear the choices?
Yeah, okay.
M&M's, Hershey's chocolate bars, or Reese's Pieces?
Oh, Reese's Pieces. Correct.
Well, I can tell you that's correct.
Yes.
This, again, another complete guess. National Lampoon's Vacation. What was Clark Griswold's middle initial?
Oh, my
G,
goodness.
J, R, or W?
W.
W. Dori will go for. Babies were talking in the 1989 comedy Look Who's Talking, but which two actors played the adult love interests, James and Molly, in the film? Was it Bruce Willis and Kirstie Alley, Bruce Willis and Shelley Long, John Travolta and Meryl Streep, or John Travolta and Kirstie Alley?
John Travolta and Kirstie Alley.
That's who played the parents.
Yes.
Because I think Bruce Willis
was the baby.
The baby.
Yeah.
In 1981, Sheena Easton sang For Your Eyes Only in the James Bond film of the same name. Which actor played Bond in this film?
I'm going to guess Roger Moore.
Going to go with Roger. 1981, yeah, you're right. Probably right on Roger Moore. In Beverly Hills Cop, second mention today. Which city does Foley work as a police officer for? So he's in Beverly Hills Cop, but he's not from Beverly Hills. Is he from Chicago, Milwaukee, Detroit, or St. Louis? Detroit. Well done, Dori. Of course, he would. Detroit Lions jacket. In Trading Places, Eddie Murphy starred alongside this SNL alum in the comedy that had the two swapping lives: John Belushi, Chevy Chase, Garrett Morris, or Dan Aykroyd?
Dan Aykroyd.
Well done, Dori. And in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, when the principal, Dean Ed Rooney, or principal, what's the difference between principal? Isn't a dean only university? Anyway, it's called
Whatever.
Dean, yeah. Calls Ferris Bueller's mom. How many times has he been absent? 6, 7, 8, or 9?
Oh, my goodness.
Now, I think
8.
it's 8. You're going to go with 8?
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, let us see how well Dori did. And Dori gets a 9 out of 10, Dori.
Holy moly, how?
Wow, you got, I mean, of course, there's ones we knew. The one you got wrong
Was the tab.
The tab. He ordered a Diet Pepsi. But your guess on Caddyshack was good. It was Bushwood. Your guess on Clark Griswold, W, was right.
Wow. I guess on Stripes.
And Stripes, well, Stripes I knew was right. And then your guess on... Oh, no, Dori, you're right. It wasn't a Pepsi. It was a tab. You got that one right. So the only one you got wrong was how many days did he miss? Ferris Bueller was 8.
But I said 8.
No, you said 7. Did you say 8?
I said 8.
Oh, no, sorry, it was 9. You said 8 was 9. Sorry.
Okay.
Well done, Dori. That's some good guesswork there.
Wow.
Well done. We'll post this quiz up. Take it yourself and post your scores. And then go to hell.
We've just given all the answers.
It's been a long show. This has been That 80 Show. Everything we spoke about on the show today can be found in the show notes or on That 80 Show SA on Facebook. Dori is looking dizzy. Dizzy Dori, take it easy down the stairs.
Okay.
That sounds like a children's book. Dizzy Dori took it easy down the stairs.
Not Action Park.
Yo. Wear a helmet. Thanks for joining me, Dori. Goodbye.
Bye.